93%. That is the staggering percentage of video watchers in India who use YouTube. We're talking about a massive, truly unprecedented scale of digital consumption here. But, there's a catch. Reaching this audience isn't just about uploading a video and crossing your fingers. It requires a fundamental, ground-up understanding of a mobile-first, emerging market ecosystem.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a comprehensive blueprint for mastering mobile-first markets on YouTube. We'll be pulling from some fascinating academic research on digital adoption, proven content strategies for tech businesses, and deep dive analytics on what actually makes a YouTube script hold human attention. If you've been wanting to figure out how to turn passive scrollers into a highly engaged, dedicated audience, you are definitely in the right place.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with Section 1, the mobile-first audience. Then Section 2, winning YouTube formats. Next up is Section 3, structuring high-retention scripts. And we'll wrap up with Section 4, localizing for the algorithm. Let's dive right in.
Starting with Section 1, the mobile-first audience.
The sheer dominance of a single device in these markets is absolutely undeniable. Take a look at a comprehensive study of university students in Tanzania, which serves as a fantastic proxy for emerging digital markets. A massive 90.1% rely on smartphones as their primary device. Laptops trail way behind at just 11.6%, and tablets? They barely even register at 4.4%. Affordability and portability have crowned the smartphone as the absolute king. What this means for us is simple. If your content isn't optimized for a vertical hold and a small screen, you are essentially invisible to 90% of this market.
But what exactly are they doing on these phones for 4 to 6 hours every single day? Well, WhatsApp leads the pack as the main communication hub, but right on its heels is YouTube, pulling a 0.73 engagement score. Interestingly enough, AI tools and traditional learning apps sit much farther back in the pack. This tells us that the audience heavily prioritizes social interaction and rich, visual video learning above practically everything else.
This brings us to the technology acceptance model. It shows us that mobile adoption isn't just about a device being easy to use, it's actually heavily dictated by socio-economic realities. For instance, students from higher-income families are 1.6 times more likely to adopt these devices for learning, and male students are roughly 1.7 times more likely than female students. Understanding this digital divide is absolutely crucial. It's a reminder that our audience is actively navigating real financial constraints, which perfectly sets up the kind of content they are hungriest for.
Which leads us to Section 2, winning YouTube formats. According to expert content marketing agencies, there are very specific, proven formats that drive massive engagement for tech businesses in these markets. We're talking about budget tech recommendations, tech tutorials, gaming tech reviews, local tech news, and tech comparisons. Notice a theme there? These viewers don't just want to drool over shiny, unaffordable new toys. They heavily prioritize cost-effective solutions and beginner-friendly education. Tutorials, for example, are totally timeless, and they boost engagement because they solve real, immediate user problems in a very simple, visual way.
Let's think about how this translates into an actual video title. Consider this: Top 5 laptops under 40,000 rupees for working professionals. This right here is a perfectly primed title. It is hyper-specific, it's highly localized, and most importantly, it's budget-focused. It speaks directly to the economic reality we just saw in that academic data. When a user in India searches for a laptop, they aren't usually searching for abstract specs. They have a hard, strict budget in mind. Titles exactly like this completely dominate geo-targeted search results, and they're exactly what AI overviews look for when trying to answer specific consumer queries.
All right, moving on to Section 3, structuring high-retention scripts.
Now, this is the universal hook, story, payoff template. Honestly, it's the closest thing YouTube has to a mandatory framework. From 0 to 3 seconds, you have to state the tension fast. Give them one clean, clear reason to stick around. Then, from 3 to 20 seconds, expand on that promise without giving away the whole farm. After that, you move through the obstacles or the story beats, and finally, you deliver the payoff. The absolute biggest mistake creators make is overstuffing that precious 0 to 3 second window. Whatever you do, don't kill curiosity by cramming in your biography, long-winded self-introductions, or a ton of background context. Nobody clicked to hear a greeting. They clicked for the value.
To really hammer this home, picture a typical weak tutorial intro. It goes something like, "Before we begin, let's talk about the importance of understanding the broader context." Look, by the time you finish that sentence, the mobile viewer has already swiped away. Now contrast that with a strong, punchy intro. Open the settings panel first. If you skip that, the rest of this method won't work. Boom. Action first. Zero friction. Short lines. You name the action, and you instantly explain why it matters.
And when it comes to comparison formats, like our Tally versus Zoho books or two budget laptop scenarios, this quote captures the psychology perfectly. A comparison video answers which one is better for this type of user at this budget. The true job of a comparison script is not just to blindly list product specs side by side. Your viewer probably has a browser tab full of indecision. Your real job is to reduce their decision fatigue. You want to show the trade-offs in the exact order a buyer considers them, centering around the actual consequences of the purchase, rather than just rattling off technical features.
Finally, Section 4, Localizing for the Algorithm. This brings up a fascinating dynamic regarding language and context, particularly in a market like India. Think about the choice between speaking pure English versus integrating Hindi. As highlighted by digital creator Sindhu Biswal, speaking pure English technically throws you into a highly competitive, massive global pool. But here is the major danger. If you're speaking English, but discussing a hyper-local Indian business context, a viewer in the United States who gets served your video isn't going to understand it. They'll click away immediately, and that totally tanks your attention. However, by adding Hindi to your delivery, you're sending a direct, powerful signal to the algorithm that you are physically inside India. You instantly categorize your content for the exact geographic audience that will actually understand the context and watch the thing all the way through.
When we map out these algorithm signals, the trade-off becomes crystal clear. If you choose pure English, sure, your reach is theoretically global, but your context gets heavily diluted. If you integrate the local language, your reach becomes targeted, but your context becomes hyper-relevant. Diluting your context creates a fatal mismatch between viewer expectation and the content itself. If you want to dominate the local market, you have to lean into those signals. This means answering questions directly to capture AI summaries, adding region-specific tags, and critically, making sure your closed captions are completely accurate and localized. It's all about being hyper-relevant to the algorithm so it can match you with a hyper-relevant viewer.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Take a hard look at your current workflow and ask yourself, is your next release actually speaking your audience's language, both structurally and literally? We've journeyed all the way from understanding the macro data of 90% smartphone adoption, to realizing the raw power of budget-focused formats, to structuring zero-friction scripts, and finally, signaling the algorithm with local nuance. If you aren't adapting to these realities, you're just leaving your audience on the table. Take these strategies, rethink your production workflow, and start speaking directly to the mobile-first world.